Imagine standing on the edge of a promising breakthrough, only to watch everything unravel in a single play. The team was finally showing signs of progress. The offense was beginning to click, and hope was pulsing once again among the fan base. But suddenly, what was supposed to be a defining game turned into a red flag moment, one that could completely alter the direction of the franchise. Another injury, yes, another one, might have ended an era before it truly began. And now, the questions that once seemed distant are demanding immediate answers. Can you keep betting on someone who simply can't stay on the field? Is it fair to the roster, to the fans, to the future of the team? We'll talk about this and much more. But first, click the like button and subscribe for more news. What if I told you that J.J. McCarthy's final snap of the 2025 season, and perhaps even in a Vikings uniform, ended not with a touchdown or a triumphant drive, but with him crumpled to the turf, clutching his throwing hand after being blindsided by Brian Burns? That the play, meant to spring Justin Jefferson free on a screen, instead unraveled into a potential turning point in the young quarterback's already injury-riddled career. That one unblocked rusher might not only derail a season, but possibly close the book on a quarterback experiment that once brimmed with hope. That's the terrifying reality Minnesota Vikings fans are waking up to after Sunday's 16-13 victory over the New York Giants, a game that was supposed to be about momentum, progress, and maybe even pride, but ended up casting a long, dark shadow over the franchise's quarterback future. Make no mistake, J.J. McCarthy had finally started to look the part. If you strip away the drops, of which there were many, 3 in the first half alone, you'd be left with a stat line that speaks volumes. Roughly 12 of 14 for 145 yards and a rushing touchdown, all in just one half. His lone score was a scramble into the end zone that showcased the athleticism that made him such an enticing draft pick. His movement, his poise, his progression, it was all coming together. It looked like Minnesota had something to build on. But then came the hit. Then came the swelling. Then came the reality. It was McCarthy's throwing hand. And based on his visible pain and the immediate post-game concern, it's not far-fetched to believe he won't return for the final 2 games of the season. Christmas Day against Detroit? Unlikely. The finale against Green Bay? Even less so. And so now, here's the uncomfortable question the Vikings front office must answer. Can you build your franchise around a quarterback who hasn't shown he can stay on the field? This is not a knee-jerk reaction. This is a trend. Last year, J.J. missed the entire rookie season due to a torn meniscus. Then came the high ankle sprain that cost him 8 games, one of the longest recoveries we've seen for that injury. Then came a concussion. Then came another hand injury earlier this year, and now this. McCarthy, by all accounts, is a good guy. Talented, resilient. But he's not built like Josh Allen or Dak Prescott or even Patrick Mahomes. He has a slimmer frame, and that may be part of why he can't seem to survive the grind of an NFL season. And here's the hard truth. If McCarthy misses these last 2 games, he will have played just 8.5 games in 2 full seasons. That's not development. That's a red flag. What faith can teammates have? How do you walk into a locker room next summer and tell these men you're handing the reins back to a guy who has spent more time in the medical tent than under center? Fans need to prepare for what's likely to come next. Change. Radical change. The Vikings could pursue a trade. Names like Kyler Murray are already being whispered. They could move up in the draft for a shot at Dante Moore or Ty Simpson. With 11 picks next year, Minnesota has the ammunition to do just about anything. There's even talk of using Jordan Addison, yes, Addison, as trade bait. The sophomore wideout dropped a wide-open touchdown against the Giants, and now leads the NFL with 8 drops and a drop rate of 17%. Combine that with off-field issues, and he's gone from cornerstone to question mark in just one season. You can't ignore the irony. The Vikings are 7-8, not bad enough to pick at the top of the draft, not good enough to contend, and with a quarterback they can't evaluate because he's never healthy. The team has regressed, Kevin O'Connell hasn't taken a step forward, and the general manager is facing serious scrutiny. A season that started with promise is now smoldering in frustration, missed opportunity, and looming uncertainty. And while McCarthy's injury is the headline, it wasn't the only storyline. Backup Max Brower stepped in and was serviceable. 7 of 9, 52 yards, a solid sideline connection with Jefferson. But let's be honest, he's not the future. He's the placeholder. Jefferson, for his part, remains a miracle in cleats. His third and long conversions, his toe-drag sideline catches, his ability to turn nothing into something, he's the heartbeat of the offense. But even he can't carry a team without a consistent quarterback. Defensively, it was arguably the unit's best performance of the year. Jalen Redmond continued to shine, dominating in the run game and collapsing the pocket with surgical precision. His run, stop, and pass rush win rates are among the best in the league. Andrew Van Ginkel nearly pulled off a one-handed interception and delivered the game-sealing sack. Jonathan Allen played his best game as a Viking, and the defensive front suffocated a Giants offense that stubbornly refused to throw the ball. But that's part of the pain, too. A defense finally clicking. Jefferson in his prime. And yet, no real future under center. No clarity. No direction. What's worse than being bad? Being stuck. And maybe the most telling part of all this is how numb the fan base feels. There's no outrage, no rebellion, just resignation, as if they've seen this movie before. And maybe they have. So now, I want to hear from you. After seeing J.J. McCarthy go down again, after watching another promising drive end in disaster, do you believe his time as the Vikings quarterback is over? Should the team go all in on a new face under center? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know exactly what you think, as this franchise faces one of its most pivotal off-seasons in years. Because what happens next might define the next 5 years, or even decade, of Minnesota Vikings football. The quarterback position is the foundation of every team, and right now, that foundation is cracked. And this isn't just about one injured player. This is about the domino effect rippling through the entire organization. Let's zoom out for a moment. Let's say McCarthy doesn't start another game this season. That means he finishes his sophomore campaign with fewer than 9 full games played in 2 years. And if you're Kwesi Adofo-Mensah or Kevin O'Connell, you have to ask the most brutal question in sports. Can we trust him? Because trusting J.J. McCarthy means rolling into 2026 with a quarterback who has never played a full season. It means risking another year of locker room tension, of veteran players questioning leadership, of Jefferson wasting prime years on a team with no identity. That's not just risky, it's reckless. And speaking of Jefferson, what message does this send to your superstar wideout? A player who continues to defy gravity, expectations, and defenders, while the team around him spins its wheels. You can only ask him to be patient for so long. The Vikings need to prove they're serious about winning now, not in some hypothetical future that keeps slipping away. That urgency might be what forces the front office to get aggressive this offseason. And aggressive could mean anything. It could mean dangling Jordan Addison as part of a blockbuster trade package. Because yes, Addison has talent. But 8 drops? 4th highest drop percentage in the league? That's not just a stat. It's a trend. Add in off-field issues, and suddenly, he's not untouchable anymore. And when you're trying to move from the 13th pick up into the top 5, every asset counts. Let's entertain the scenario. The Vikings call Cleveland. They offer Addison, the 13th overall pick, another first, and a second-rounder. Is that enough to go get Dante Moore or Ty Simpson? Possibly. That's the kind of bold, go-get-your-guy move we've seen work in the past. Look at what the Chiefs did for Mahomes, or what the Bills did for Allen. If you believe in a quarterback, you go get him. Period. But the cautionary tale here is exactly what the Vikings are living through now, when you think you've got your guy, and he can't stay on the field. And that's what makes McCarthy's case so difficult. The talent is there. The flashes are undeniable. But the NFL isn't about flashes. It's about dependability. And JJ just hasn't shown that yet. Meanwhile, the defense has quietly become the unexpected silver lining of this bleak season. Jalen Redmond is emerging as a star. Andrew Van Ginkel is making game-changing plays. Even Jonathan Allen, often criticized early, played his best game yet against the Giants. The Giants' game plan, old-school heavy formations and conservative play calling, was completely stifled. Rookie QB Jackson Dart looked overwhelmed, finishing 7 of 13 for just 33 yards and a pick. It wasn't all his fault either. He was dealing with drops and an anemic playbook. But the Vikings' defense deserves credit for keeping the pressure high. That's what makes this so infuriating for fans. When your defense plays lights out, when Jefferson is still that guy, when the foundation is there, but the quarterback position is a revolving door, it's impossible not to feel robbed, not just of wins, but of what could have been, what should have been. And let's not forget the front office. Kevin O'Connell hasn't made the leap many hoped for. Kwesi's decisions, from the draft to free agency, are under the microscope. You're staring down a $50 million cap over age, a mediocre draft slot, and no clear QB1. That's not just disappointing, it's a disaster in the making if they don't get this right. Look at the league around you. Sam Darnold is dropping 38 on the Rams. Teams with clarity at quarterback are thriving. The Vikings, meanwhile, are stuck in neutral. It's not that McCarthy was a bust. He simply couldn't stay on the field long enough to prove either way. And in the NFL, not knowing is just as dangerous as knowing a player can't play. The next few months will be crucial. Every interview, every medical evaluation, every pro day and private workout, everything must be viewed through the lens of who is our quarterback next season. Is it J.J. McCarthy, if he miraculously heals and earns back the trust of the locker room? Is it a top rookie, traded up for at a high cost? Is it a veteran bridge like Marcus Mariota or Joe Flacco? The worst thing the Vikings could do is nothing. Standing pat isn't an option. Hoping for health isn't a plan. And if you let this moment slip by, if you try to run it back with the same approach, you risk wasting Jefferson's prime, alienating your fan base, and setting the franchise back another 5 years. So, Vikings fans, this is your moment too. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What should the Vikings do? Is J.J. McCarthy finished in Minnesota? Do you trade up for a new quarterback? Is Jordan Addison worth keeping, or should he be part of a blockbuster deal? And if you've made it this far, show us you're part of this passionate fan base. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single update as this off-season unfolds. We're going to be breaking down every rumor, every trade, every move. This is going to be one of the most important off-seasons in Minnesota Vikings history, and you won't want to miss a second of it. SKOL!